Hello students, this is Mr. Sims. We are on page 40 of the module 4 of percents module, and we'll be talking today about simple interest, and the lesson objective would be I can find simple interest. Right? And it is, they call it simple interest because it's probably the most simple form of interest. There's other types of interest that you'll learn later on in math. So the opening example, and I'm not going to do every single one of these problems, but I'm just going to show you because the simple interest formula uses the percent as a decimal. So I wanted to show you how we can do problems that we've already done this year using a percent of a decimal. And usually it's the easiest way to do it is when we're trying to find a percent of a whole amount or an original amount. So like for example, on number 1, it says find 30% of. So think about the word of. Of means to multiply. So normally we set the proportion 30 over 100 equals x over 250. Okay, that's the proportion method. Well, there's a way you could do it as a decimal. So if you convert 30% to a decimal, so you get 30%, remember FDP, decimal point 2 places, it's 0.3. So you could take 0.3 times 250, and we can do this a lot quicker instead of having, so it's 0.3 times 250, which gives us 75. All right, now, doing the cross multiplication method, 30 times 250 divided by 100, and you see that we do get the same thing, and it actually saves a step. All right. Okay. Here, let's look at another one. So Sophia purchases a cell phone for $49.99. The tax is 8.25. Find the total cost. So what I can do is I can take 8.25 and I can convert that to a decimal, 2 places. Now this, you got to be careful. When you move it 2 places, you got to fill in with a 0. So I can take 0.0825 and multiply that times 49.99 because the tax is 8.25% of the 49.99. So we'll just do that real quick. 49.99 times 0.0825, and you get $4.12. Well, it's $4.124, but the 4 keeps the 2 as a 2, so $4.12 is the tax, and then of course the tax gets added to the original cost. So we get 11 carry 1, 14. We get $54.11. Right? So you can actually do some of the percent problems we've already done as a decimal. Right? I'm not going to go over the next 2. Those you can do extra on your own if you're looking for extra problems. All right, so let's get right to today's lesson. And example number 1. Get the focus to come back. Can money grow? A look at simple interest. And there are really 2 types of interest. It's interest that you get when you borrow money. So that's interest that you have to pay on top of the money you borrowed versus interest that the bank gives you for holding your money. So when you give the bank money to hold on to, they give you money back. All right, so here's the formula. And this is not provided for you. So if you're going to use this formula, you're going to have to remember at least the formula or remember what you're doing. And it's pretty straightforward. It's just straight up multiplication. You take the principal times the rate times the time. The principal is the amount of money that you start, your initial amount. Your rate is your percent rate, but it's your percent as a decimal. And the time is the period of time. Most of the time it's in years. All right, but you do have to read because it will tell you. Look for the word annual. Annual means per year. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First example. Larry invests $100 in a savings plan. So the plan pays 4.5% interest each year on his balance. How much money will Larry earn in interest after 3 years and then after 5 years? All right, so let's do after 3 years. So here's how the formula works. I equals PRT. You take the principal, that's the initial amount, 100, of the rate. So this is really 4.5%. So move the decimal point 2 places, it gives us 0.045. And then you multiply times 3. So just take that, take your calculator and punch that in and just check my math and make sure I'm doing it right. 100 times 0.045 times 3. And I get $13.50. And that's at the end of 3 years. Right? And then suppose we want to find now after 5 years. So it's really the same thing. It's still that $100. The rate is still the same, 0.045, and now it's for 5 years. So we do this one, 100 times 0.045 times 5, and we get $22.50. Right? Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, maybe not, is what do we do if you don't remember this formula? Okay, so if you don't remember this formula, and over here in this corner, and I'll use a different color so you can see that I'm doing something differently. Let me just show you how we'll go back to the 3-year one here. Right? Well, never fear. If you don't know the formula, the thing you need to do is you could do this just like a regular problem. We could do 4.5% of the 100, which when you do this, you get $4.50. So then, once you do this, you just multiply it by the year. So it's $4.50 times 3. So you could still use a proportion to do these problems. All right, so now to finish this problem off, it says, how can you find the balance of Larry's account? So the balance, okay, to find the balance, it's what you started with plus the interest. All right, so at the end of 5 years, you take the amount he started with, the $100, and then you add the interest, the $22.50 that we got up here, and the amount in his account is now $122.50. Oh, let's move this up so you can see. All right. After the video, you'll go through and you'll do exercise number 1, right, and go from there. So now we'll move on to example number 2. This doesn't happen very often, but sometimes you'll get this time other than 1 year. All right. So a $1,000 savings bond. How much interest does the bond have earned after 3 months? Okay, so a $1,000 savings bond earns simple interest at a rate of 3% each year, and that's the key. All right, the interest is paid at the end of every month. How much interest will the bond have earned after 3 months? So here's the formula: I equals PRT. So the principal is $1,000. The rate is 3%, 0.03. Okay, and 3 months. Now here's how we do 3 months in years. Okay, there are 12 months in a year, so this would be, we call this 3 months out of the 12 months that would represent the whole year. So we would have to use the fraction 3 out of 12. All right, so now we can just, here, 1,000 times 0.03 times, and I don't have an ABC button on this calculator, but I'll just use 3 divided by 12. It equals, you can see I get $7.50. All right. So your assignment will be to kind of work on the problems throughout the next few pages. The answer key will be provided on Schoology for you to check. So this is Mr. Sims signing off.